for the same. So thank you so much, everyone. Very good evening once again. And I'm just setting up the context for each one of you. Just to give you a quick background, I am Neeraj Kumar. I'm the host for today. And basically, I head the private division business at Staqu Technologies. Along with me, I'm having the CEO and co-founder of Staqu, Mr. Atul Rai. Please welcome him. And I'm also having industry leaders from Intel, Chaayos, Embassy, people like Mr. Yudhvir Singh Rana, who's a business leader at Intel IoT. We do have Mr. Chirag Boonlia, who's the group CTO at Embassy Group. I'm sure that most of us might be having our offices at Embassy some point in time. At the same time, Mohit is the CTO for Chaayos. We are waiting for him. I think he's taken a very urgent call. Maybe one you can just look into it and while he's joining in. And
Hi guys, I'm here. Sorry, I was not able to get log in into this. I had to restart my system to do that.
no
Sorry
problem,
for that.
Mohit. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining in.
How are you
You're
doing?
at the Thank you so much. So without wasting a much, I'll just set up the agenda for the next 1 hour that we are going to spend out here. We'll start off with our Intel team. So Yudhvir will, help us walk through, share the insight that, how Intel and, Intel is helping the organization in digital transformations with their cutting edge technologies in terms of, hybrid architectures, local edge enablement, as well as cloud enablement in these directions. And I'll request you, Yudhvir, if you can also shed some light around how Staqu Intel partnership is building in that direction. Though I can say a lot of things, but if you can just cover in that bit of it, that will actually help our audience today. Then I do have along with me Mr. Atul Rai, who is the co-founder and CEO at Staqu Technologies, and he'll be speaking more on a line of how video analytics as a solution and technology is helping lot of manufacturing, retail, and infrastructure organizations to automate their various business functions like safety processes, security processes, and operational SOPs as well. So Atul, I'll request you to cover once you start that off. And we do have our panelists out here, uh, Mr. Mohit and Mr. Chirag, who are the industry leaders from different sides. One is taking care of the food and beverage, who disrupted the entire market, and we do have the real estate king, Mr. Chirag, who's looking out, the technology and digital transformation in the traditional industries like real estate. And after all this, we'll have a Q&A session around where audience can, just come up, ask their questions in the chat window in parallel. If you have any questions in parallel as well, you feel free to drop in the chat window. The moderators will try to answer it, and we will pick up few of the questions at the end so that speakers by themselves can, answer your queries right here on this particular session. So I'll, without wasting a much, I'll hand it over to Mr. Yudhvir. So Yudhvir, you can just, the session is all yours and you can just start off. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Neeraj. So hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Yudhvir.
It's,
Okay, so a very good evening to everyone. So once again, and welcome to the Visual Intelligence at Edge. So I am Yudhvir Rana, IoT business lead for Edge AI and Vision at Intel India. So today I'm pleased to talk with you about visual intelligence at the edge, a convergence of video, artificial intelligence, and edge computing that presents exciting opportunities across industries. So what I mean by visual intelligence is using video to extract rich data sets and information to enable valuable predictive capabilities and insights for your business. So video is everywhere. Sensors and devices are always improving and the cost of those devices are decreasing. Performance is increasing and new capabilities are emerging, accelerating innovation. Until very recently, for video to be useful, dedicated personnel had to watch live feeds and maintain their attention, something that's difficult, costly, and near impossible to scale. So now artificial intelligence can do much more of the heavy lifting, helping extract useful value from the data. So there is a fast growing need for intelligence in the edge-based video applications. More than ever, companies are looking for real-time business insights from video. Some of the examples of business insights from video include like inventory level monitoring in retail, quality control and defect detection in manufacturing, crowd management in smart cities, and video recognition for traffic control and smart parking in road infrastructure for smart cities. So there have been various use cases. You name any, so computer vision application has been used across the industry, leveraging artificial intelligence to provide the business insights to organizations. So the big opportunity is enabling a quicker path to business innovation. So naturally, this starts with transitioning from analog to digital feeds, something that been happening for a while. With modern sensors and data at the edge, organizations can solve problems more quickly and cost effectively than before. So they are also investing in systems that are not static. Over time, what can be done with the data will just get better and more valuable. In addition to updatable software, analytics capabilities, and artificial intelligence and machine learning services are always improving. Because of this, edge devices is placed today will be able to capture future business opportunities that we can't predict. A good example of this is our global sensitivity to social distancing in the wake of the pandemic. What was formerly a little known capability become a primarily scalable use case almost overnight. So when we talk about that, there are three key drivers of the push to the edge. The first is that need for real-time results. There are many use cases where you can't wait for video to be sent to the cloud to be processed. Examples of this might be machine vision based defect detection on the production line or face detection or recognition for real-time access control. Secondly, edge intelligence can help with bandwidth and storage operating costs. You don't want to pay to transmit and store superfluous video, especially the 4K video. You only want to move and store what matters. Finally, in many cases, video data cannot leave the premises due to privacy or other regulations. This push to the edge is helped by the massive increase in compute performance in smaller and lower power silicon. So video provides rich data, but effective analysis is essential to convert that into useful, actionable insights. Artificial intelligence enables this conversation at edge without having to move data to the cloud. AI at the edge puts compute, storage, and analytics close to where the data is created. It's more immediate and typically less costly than solely cloud-based alternatives. As sensors become more ubiquitous, organizations need to make sure they plan thoughtfully for configurations of hardware and software that meets their specific business challenges. Data storage cost, data availability, and especially cybersecurity must be addressed to whatever the needs we are forming for the digital transformation for the organizations for business. So when we talk about that, this explosive growth of video analytics is transformational, creating further opportunities for hardware and software solutions to address specific business problems. So to name a few, so like when we talk about that, emerging AI solutions at the edge drive innovation and create value. So visual intelligence is transforming industries and expanding opportunities at the edge. So just to name a few, so you can see that video safety and security. So in which we can detect the criminal activities such as loitering, trespassing, and suspicious vehicles or objects and send the alerts to the security personals. So as a SOP, so to take that immediate action, and we can help detect stolen vehicles and respond with the Amber alerts all across the city. Similarly, so when we talk about that control optimization, so we can recognize so various kinds of facial maybe detection so to provide that the access control in the real time basis. So though, so if the faces are covered with occlusions or glasses and anything, that is the AI have evolved so far. And similarly, when we talk about that manufacturing, so defect detection, so where we can maximize operational efficiency with a solution that fully digitize quality audits. Similarly, we can improve the QA accuracy and detect product anomalies almost instantaneously, increasing accuracy by training with more product defect images. Similarly, when you talk about the retail, so we can enable the use cases like cashier free stores, so which can save labor cost by introducing automation to the checkout process. as well as increasing operational efficiencies by reducing human error. So which further improves customer experience by cutting wait time and minimizing dependency on staff. So that way there are various use cases. So and more are coming all the time. So that provides the opportunity for extracting the value at the edge. So which is exploding all the way. But let's pause for just a moment and look more carefully at what we should consider as we make the most of what is available. So existing setups are probably inadequate to address the future business requirements for AI at the edge. Even as video data becomes a key enabler of innovation and process improvements, it is important to address managing the complexity of AI deployment, integrating AI into distributed systems, hiring and retaining staff with sufficient expertise, and providing training to enhance critical skills. Further ensuring capabilities with existing infrastructure, altogether scaling performance for distributed computing as well as creating sufficient ecosystem solutions for diverse workloads. So that is where, so Neeraj mentioned, so we have been collaborating with all across the industrial ecosystem, so in which we are enabling them and get to the market, building up the tech highly tech enabled solutions which are very cost optimized and delivering the best of the return on investment for the customers. So with these new and promising use cases comes exposure for bad actors. Change is accelerating. High profile expensive hacks are daily news and cybersecurity attacks spill over into physical vulnerabilities. The recent hack of Workda, for instance, compromised 150,000 cameras inside hospitals, prisons, offices, and more. Additionally, implications of pandemic are driving sweeping changes in how organizations think about managing foot traffic, especially in crowded public spaces or choke points, as another vector of business risk. As the edge grows, cyber criminals gain a larger attack surface. It's no longer enough to protect software layers because attackers try to exploit any entry point in any layer of the IoT. Hardware security can't replace software security at every layer. However, hardware protection is still essential. So Intel Security Essentials is our consistent hardware-based protection, a built-in hardware foundation of trust that protects the platform, data, and enables trusted applications without compromising performance. And a compromise at any layer can make the entire stack vulnerable. So Intel has developed a holistic security action plan to help safeguard from build to retire. Intel is providing a collection of governance processes, tools and technologies for our products, as well as working with the ecosystem to extend trust throughout the product lifecycle. Just to name a few, the latest technology called confidential computing is an example to that. A comprehensive intelligent video safety and security solution consists of multiple devices and components, from the end camera devices to the edge and finally to the cloud compute. Power can impact the performance of entire security systems. So when we look at the basic anatomy of video security solution, they all generally look like this today. So there are endpoint devices made up of cameras and other IoT sensors that get aggregated together through the network of central management points, then typically connected to a large backend of storage that could either be a local data center, a private cloud, or a public cloud. From endpoint through the edge and into the backend, there are various levels of analytics that take place, providing a hierarchy of AI and intelligence. While there will be likely some aggregate analytics taking place in the backend, and it's the edge part of this solution where the bulk of real-time scene intelligence is happening. So that is where Intel OpenVINO enables the processing of this rich data at edge through edge devices at a better price per stream and performance levels. And so happy to share that with the Staqu. So we have collaborated and built up the complete technology stack, which is scalable from the tiniest of Intel processors like Atom and goes beyond to the most highly powerful processors like Xeons. So that gives it flexibility and scalability and modularity to the applications to deploy as the need arises. So essentially where there is a camera, Intel can process, analyze and store the rich data those cameras generate and optimize visual intelligence solutions from Intel incorporates edge AI analytics, media, security, storage, and long life cycles. So this is a very critical when you are building up the solution. So what is the life cycle of that solution exists? So we have seen that. So in our competition offerings, so there is a proprietary solutions just with the change of so new SKU coming into the market, you altogether have to change your code base and everything. So with Intel, it provides that complete scalability and modularity for the larger life cycle of the solutions. So Intel is answering the demand for innovative digital solutions across many use cases, including safety and security. So in which Intel brings its deep ecosystem and decades of industry expertise, our extensive portfolio of hardware and software tools, and Intel's brand strength and global reach. So with that, so today's business problems solved by the artificial intelligence require a comprehensive system level approach with scaled solution at reasonable cost with software portability. So the solution is not always the fastest benchmark running on the fastest silicon. Intel based appliances offer a comprehensive safety approach that incorporates all the end-to-end feature requirements. Let it be a video codec, inferencing, cybersecurity, networking, general purpose, pre and post processing at the reasonable cost with IoT fortifications. Whether businesses are adding a dedicated AI appliance to upgrade their legacy network video recorders and storage servers, or whether the AI inference solutions already in place needs a performance boost to support more video analytics. So one thing remains clear, video analytics on Intel can be right sized to meet current and future performance, power and cost requirements. So thank you very much. Over to you, Neeraj.
Thank you, Yudhvir bhai. Much appreciate the kind of insights that you shared with our audience. Uh, just to give you, everyone for everyone's reference, we were a proprietary video analytics company, right? Where we had our own algorithms, where we were trying to reach out to large enterprises. And one of the interesting thing I remember is while I was talking to the customers, somewhere they are cloud friendly, somewhere, they are edge friendly, and somewhere they need a hybrid mode of it as well. So what generally happens is, over the cloud, we highly optimize ourselves. At the edge, we did one of the largest deployments in UP, over 3,000 cameras, where, we are using Intel Xeon processors at the edge, right? So that actually gave us a lot of insights and you can say performance enhancements and helped to bring down the TCO for our end customers as well. Where the internet issues are there and, the things are required to put on edge. So I think while Atul is taking care of the next session, he can just share some more insights about what he feel in that angle. Atul, over to you. The forum is all yours. Please go ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Neeraj, and a great insight, Yudhvir, for this Intel thing. And I'll also cover up like what we are doing with Intel in different way in terms of optimizing our AI. So I'm just bringing the screen and yeah. Okay. So I'm assuming
It's visible, Atul. It's visible. Please go ahead. You can maximize it. Yeah, you can full screen it. Thanks.
great. So thank you, Neeraj. So thank you everyone for joining this call. I'll talk more on the terms of the practical use cases which we have built for video analytics for different domain. Primarily, I'm going to target the manufacturing side because, of course, we have industry leader from retail side or the food tech side and infrastructure side. So they will speak more on their respective vision towards the video analytics on all. Going first, of course, about the Staqu, we are an AI startup. We are in the market for the last 7 years now. We are one of the company which is building both VMS and video analytics, and also using the audio data coming from the cameras to identify different scenes. So in that way, the overall module, we are working in security, safety, operations, and visual analytics for different companies. So far, we are live with 70 plus companies, and we are live on 10,000 plus camera. That means we are processing around 1 lakh frames per second, which is a huge number even for any company. And when we say we are an AI company, we have done 25 plus research papers published in some of the top conferences where companies like Google, Facebook, Intel publish their papers. And of course, we also won many prestigious award in this area. We won national award from the government of India in the startup domain for the security part. Since we are working with many government organizations, helping them in the smart cities or Kumbh Mela kind of environment. So that is one of the ecosystem we are working in the public sector. In the private sector, we are working with mostly the infrastructures, retails, and manufacturing side. where we are automatizing a lot of their tasks, which are either related to the security part or safety part or their respective operations. Also, in terms of the partners, we have different cloud partners, different other partners in terms of commercial partnerships. Coming to the problem statement directly. So when we talk about camera, we all have camera, whether it's a house, whether it's an office, whether it's any manufacturing, infra, airport, everywhere, right? And the problem with the camera kind of a hardware is until unless you're not putting in human to monitor it, you're not able to get the insight on that, right? And the second, if you want to deploy something, it is so costly. You have to bring a hardware, you have to deploy something, then it is operational challenge and all, right? So how to bring something which basically become a plug and play kind of a solution, right? And that is where we entered in this market and this particular problem statement, where we're solving this plug and play kind of a technology which can be utilized on any existing CCTV cameras. So that is where we are having JARVIS. So JARVIS is our audio video analytics technology. I'm also including audio because we're using the audio data as well coming from the cameras. There are very sensitive use cases which are related to security. Someone is screaming, there's a gunshot, the security domain, where the audio can play a very important role. So that is where audio data is also being utilized. Coming the first problem statement. So we all have, let's say if you're running a manufacturing, if you're running a retail chain, if you're running a different such kind of a chains, right? So you might be having multiple installation, right? In that way, being a CIO or being a CEO or some of the management person, you want to basically access all the camera. And of course, people had such kind of a technology which they call VMS, but that is more hardware driven. So you have to plug hardware at every place and you are aggregating all those feed and bringing it to a command center, right? This is what we replaced here. We brought it in a way that you need not to bring hardware every place. So that means whatever the camera you have at a different location, that can be brought to one place. It could be your own data center or it could be a cloud. And from there, you can, of course, monitor anything from anywhere. And it is not needed to have a command center. You can basically do it from your laptop. You can do it from your local command center, or even from a mobile phone. So you can see all your streams irrespective of what kind of a camera you have. You might be having CP+, you might be having Hikvision. So you can basically aggregate any make, any model, any kind of a camera streaming device, not only the CCTV, but even the body cam. Even, for example, there are certain companies like where they are building infrastructure. So they have body cams also, right? So those kind of a camera streams can also be aggregated at one place. So as a person, as a CIO, as a management head of your company, you can see all those streams at one place. That's the first problem statement we solved. Now coming to the manufacturing side, because I'm mostly talking towards this manufacturing side, the first part which comes to any of those technologies, of course, the conveyor belt efficiency calculation. We produce product, we have camera, of course, we also put sensors. But the problem with the sensors are they are very blind kind of a instrument. I mean, something they are predicting or detecting, you cannot verify until unless you are at the scene. But camera is a kind of a sensor which is producing a data which you can also where you can also do the interpretation of the data by your own brain. You can see, you can watch, and you can see that this is a true positive or a false positive in technical terms, right? So that is one thing we are doing, which is more about identifying the baggage pallets being loaded, unloaded on a conveyor belt or on any vehicle, which is important for any manufacturing because sometimes pilferage happens from that area and all. And sometimes you also want to calculate the efficiency. The second important part is the different vehicles. Logistics is another very important component, vehicles coming in, going out. And for that, of course, either you can put an NPR camera or different other such kind of a cameras which are very costly in nature. In this case, we are just using that 3 megapixel camera or 4 megapixel camera which you have there, which is of 2,000, 3,000 rupees. In general, NPR cameras comes start from 2 lakh rupees to 25 lakh rupees. So this is like the cost difference we are helping companies, right? Even the low resolution number plate recognition technology is deployed and can be used for identifying the vehicles coming in a particular manufacturing units, right? And then you can also get the overall loading and unloading time of vehicle, their turnaround time, because sometimes manufacturing units are hiring third-party vehicles. So they want to, of course, optimize the overall cost. Until unless you don't have the data, you can't optimize the whole cost. So you're not only adding the transparency, but you're also adding the whole visibility of the vehicle. You're also getting the data in terms of the loading time, unloading time, the safety part. Of course, when you say safety, safety could be access control, which means you want to know who is working in a particular area, or there are certain people who might not be having helmet, jacket and all, and they are working in certain areas, right? So these are certain part where you want to have a system which is in real time helping you. And of course, you don't want to put much cost in terms of the hardware integration. So this is all happening in this particular ecosystem. These are very you can say frequently asked analytics from manufacturing side, facial recognition for the employees. Of course, we mostly have very you can say volatile kind of this employee list in manufacturing side. People change every day, right? So in this case, we JARVIS also provide, you can add any person of interest as an attendance part and then do the attendance on any kind of a camera. You need not to have any definite hardware or something to, of course, do attendance, right? And we're doing with something with different companies, kind of Borosale or Tata Project kind of a companies, right? Another very important use cases for the manufacturing when you're working with, let's say, Adani Power or such kind of a companies are like the fire detection, because they are power industry, they're using coal, or sometimes the chemical industries are using some very such kind of thing. So fire detection is one of the important thing. They have sensors, but again, sensor is a blind tool, whether sometimes they give the false positive, you can't verify whether you have to run for that particular fire or not. Here, the camera is detecting those flames, identifying the size of the flames and different things, and giving you the alert with the visibility. Then there are certain times the protest happening locally, you want to identify, maybe that is a suspicious thing, and that can also be identified. And of course, in FMCG industry, there are the places where apron, hand gloves, the headgears are very important part. You can also identify just with the camera. So this is what you're doing, is just you're putting a camera, you're just pulling the stream from the camera, and all the analytics is done by the JARVIS. Or even the cleaning kind of activity, which is very tough to identify in such a crowded or very different kind of environment, or we can say it's a wild environment. Then there are certain cases where you don't even have a very high grade camera. You can see, I mean, I will ask what is the number plate of this particular vehicle, you'll not able to read it. But in our case, it is able to read, it is MH06BU1212, right? So such kind of accuracy you are bringing here, just on 3 megapixel camera and 2 megapixel camera. Violence detection in this kind of video where you're having 240p stream coming is on another important use case, right? In the any manufacturing, sometimes violence happens, right? So this is something you can do over there. Intrusion detection or perimeter security is very important part. Sometimes people throw something from one side of the infrastructure to other side in terms of filtrate. You can do that. And of course, conveyor belt analysis or production analysis is another important component you can do on the same cameras. One of the another important thing which we have is the audio analysis part, where you can use the audio data to identify different scenes or person. Let's say you want to introduce audio analysis to identify a person in terms of the attendance system. So face is one, if the people are having masks, if they're speaking, that can also be used to identify someone. So that is also the part of JARVIS. We have 2 research papers published in ICAS Winter Speech. We're one of the best so far. I mean, Nuance is having 8% less accuracy than ours one. We published that paper in interspeech, which is being verified with some of the top scientists across the world, right? Now coming to the whole architecture part. So when you talk about camera, of course, we are asking just to use your own camera. So whatever camera you can have, and of course, most of the companies have firewall. We do RTSP stream with IPsec tunnel. That means it is end-to-end encrypted data coming to cloud or server. Local server means local hardware if they are there. Depending upon the what kind of basically options companies are opting for. So in that way, all these streams are coming at one place. And then we are providing both VMS and VA. So you need not to purchase a VMS separately, because mostly the companies are purchasing VMS and they're purchasing video analytics from some other company. So the first thing is you are getting VMS with the video analytics. So that means you can zoom in, zoom out your camera, you can rotate your camera, you can store your camera storage, everything on cloud. So when local level any accident is happening, sometime in manufacturing, boiler burst or fire happens, so the data get, of course, deleted or lost, right? In that case, this is something which you're also preserving in that way. And then the third part, the second part, of course, is the analytics part, where we are doing multiple analytics. And of course, here Intel is one of the our partner, where we are optimizing many AI model, which do not need a GPU kind of a setup. I mean, the CPU kind of a setup can be used. So that bit is basically reduce the cost, right? Because GPU servers are good for analytics, but they're super costly. With OpenVINO kind of a thing, which we have, where we have partnership with Intel, is optimizing the whole cost, and that is where, of course, a very low cost for you. In that way, you can go in operational basis, operational cost basis for opting this solution, right? And overall, this JARVIS has 3 different components. One is a video wall software, where you can aggregate all your camera from different location, different brand, different resolution. And of course, on the same time, you're also getting different analytics, which you have configured. Let's say if you're a FMCG company, people not wearing safety, let's say jacket, or you can say the aprons or the headgears or the gloves, you can see live alert on that. And every user can configure his or her choice of analytics, and of course, the frequency of those analytics. Secondly, you don't need fancy command center. Your laptop can become a command center. You can create this video all in your own laptop. You can watch anything from anywhere. and you can take a decision on that. And third part is, of course, mobile app, where you can, of course, access the same thing on your mobile system also, irrespective of what hardware or what camera hardware you're using there. And so as a boss, of course, as a boss of your company, you're not always there to see all the streams in the real time, right? And that is where we have audit reporting. So audit reporting is more like an offline analysis of the scene. So let's say you want to know for the last 10 days, how many people were not present in my office space or my manufacturing unit, or maybe what is my number of vehicle came in last 10 days, or what was the turnaround time. So those are some certain things where you want to get a reporting format. So Jarvis also provide an offline analysis tool or the data reporting format, which you can use with the different other data which you have. And apart from that, you can also configure different, basically cameras for different kind of analytics. So that is another power we have in the Jarvis. You can, in any camera, you can set up any analytics for any reason of interest. So that is something which we have brought in this thing. And apart from that, you can also do graphical analytics in terms of comparing different sites and all. Moving the last part, of course, when you talk about detection and reporting, one of the very important part in any kind of a monitoring is a response system. You detected something, right? But you want to also respond on that. So Jarvis also provide a ticket management system. For example, there are people who are not having gloves. So you can assign the task manager local there so that he's aware of it, that he has to take the action. So that the dumb camera which you were having so far is now being used as a third eye, and it's completely automated, right? And giving you all the insights of your location, which is related to operations, security, or safety. And you can also take action on that. Now, just a brief, when you talk about ourselves, we are, of course, one of the company which have more than 85 plus analytics live on Jarvis. You can choose any of them, start using that. We work with Edge, we work with cloud. So that is another advantage you have. You want to create a hybrid solution, you can do that. We are on with VMS, which means you can also play with your camera while sitting in your home, zoom in, zoom out, or rotate. So that kind of thing you can do. You can do remote installation. So 100 sites, need not to manage the operations, just get the IP address of the cameras, start using it. We also provide forensic analysis on the camera. We provide ticket management. We also provide offline reporting part, and then audio and facial recognition are some of the use cases which are being for identifying the attendance system and all. Right, and all these are happening on your own cloud. That means no data is going to anyone else cloud or Staqu's cloud. You have cloud or you have a data center where we are basically installing Jarvis. So that is another part in the security side or data privacy side. And of course, when we talk about all such cases, the first thing which comes in mind is what's the accuracy of the system. So when we say accuracy, as I said in the starting phase, we have published papers. So most of our papers are benchmarked on the very global data sets. And mostly we have accuracy beyond 99% when we say the activity detection and all. And that is basically we claim, and we also have proven in various research papers also. And second very important part is we are camera agnostic. So whether you have Hikvision, CP+, body cam, so that means any hardware or like UAV cam. So you can integrate any such camera. It's a plug and play solution. That means you just have to have internet connection at the location if you want to use on cloud. And if you want to create a local data center, you have to just produce a LAN cable. That's all. And you can access those solutions from anywhere, given that you are basically allowing your firewall to access it from anywhere as a CIO. And it's resolution independent, whatever the resolution may be, multiple camera, sending the data and different kind of a stream speeds that can also be done. So it's a one-stop solution, which is solving your security, safety, analytics, and also the VMS problem. So that is all Jarvis. Of course, we have been covered by many media houses, many top media houses, which is the Forbes, NDTV, Times of India, Economic Times, and all. And we also won many prestigious awards. So this is all about the Staqu. And of course, the upcoming part is Jarvis, realist retail and infrastructure. So just I'm just bringing a brief of it. So retail is another area which we are targeting. So in that case, retail is mostly fighting with the e-commerce. They don't have any data. They just have one data is how much sales they have done. So we're also basically automatizing that with the camera which are there in the stores. And of course, next speakers will speak more on that front. So they're like planogram analysis, footfall analysis, demographic analysis, unique visitors who are coming in. All these data is being, of course, sent to those customers who are working with us. Now they are basically optimizing their whole sales and the marketing process. So next speakers will speak on that. And of course, I'll just end it over here. So over to you, Neeraj. Hopefully I have covered most of the thing. Yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thanks so much, Atul. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful session altogether. So for everyone, who joined just now, just a one-liner for all of you. the party is not over yet. There are still a lot of things to come up because the speakers are, right now just coming in. What Atul just mentioned and Yudhvir just covered is about video analytics. Like if you have different sites, may it be a manufacturing site, retail store, or anything across India, and where the cameras are sitting in silos, the number one thing is, irrespective of the make and model, you can actually aggregate all into one single platform, and you can run the real-time analysis, capturing all the video footages and enabling your security team, safety team, operations team to make a better decisions altogether, minimize the theft and pilferage, minimize the risk and loss, optimize the productivity of your employees with one single solution where you are monitoring, you are taking real-time actions, and you are also solving and resolving those queries whatever happening in front of all those cameras. So that is what Atul just summed up. Now, Chirag and Mohit, I will request you to, just, open your cameras, come up online, so that we can have a one-on-one good session. Mohit, we are waiting for you.
Hey, I have my camera on. I think you can see me.
I'm not able to see you.
See you, Mohit.
Okay.
Chirag sir, are you able to see Mohit? So check.
No, I can't see him.
You want me to join back?
You can, no issues. It will hardly
Just
take
a
30
moment.
minutes. Yeah. So meanwhile, Mohit is joining in. Chirag sir, firstly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for joining in. It's been a very long time, that we have been discussing things, executing stuff on the ground, with your help and support. The forum is all yours. Take a moment to introduce yourself by the time Mohit joins in, and I'll share throw some questions to you, which will cover up most of the things which audiences looking forward to listen.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Neeraj. Thanks for having me here. It's pleasure. Pleasure is all mine to share my experiences with my fellow counterparts, and I'm very confident that it'll add value to the entire audience. So I represent this company which is Embassy Group. We've been there in this industry of real estate for almost last 3 decades now, having interest in almost all asset classes across the spectrum, touching upon residential, integrated township, commercial real estate, business parks, co-working, co-living, schools, facility management, property management, restaurant, clubs, you name a thing, we are all there. And I've been there with this organization for 3 years, and it's one of my pet project to have. The very reason I joined this organization was because I wanted to do the transformation in this industry, which is traditionally, supposedly, a laggard of sort in terms of embracing technology. So here is what I am, and happy to share, my experiences as we go along. Thank you.
Thanks, Chirag. Thanks so much. So, Mohit, while you were joining in, I just asked Chirag to introduce himself. I'll just take a moment to introduce you as well. So, Mohit is, you can say, wherever you go, you might find an outlet named as Chaayos, where you might have, shared your startup ideas. You might have, had a date with your girlfriend or something. So, Mohit is the guy behind that. Thank you so much, Mohit, for joining today. Now, if you can just, help the audience understand, what exactly you do and what exactly do you take it. Then after that, I'll have some Q&A sessions with both of you right here.
Sure. So thanks, Neeraj. And hi all. I'm Mohit. I head technology for Chaayos. I'm CTO for the company, and been building this entire ERP. And just like Chirag mentioned, like real estate has been, has been there in adopting technology very late into the game. So has been retail. And it's recently in last 8 to 10 years is where the retail, I would specifically say retail and offline, has started to pick up and use technology. And we happened to get onto this journey like 6 years back, started to build the entire ecosystem for the business to run, and not really relying on the technologies that were available off the shelf, rather building the technology all in house, so that we can define the way the new retail era would look like. And that's how we have been doing for 6 years. And now we are in that stage where we know what works, what does not work, and we are now happy to partner with companies like Staqu and all, who are just giving us the next level advantage when it comes to adopting new technologies for our business growth. So that's in a nutshell what technology is. At the end of the day, we are not a technology company, but technology is our backbone, and we are a tech-enabled company. So that's what differentiates us from the rest in the industry. Yeah.
Thanks, Mohit. I think the audience who are here, just to clarify, in the initial days, we were working with public sector companies, a lot of public sector companies. In 2019 around, we figured out that why only public sector? Why don't we move it to the private enterprise? The opportunity is huge, and that's where we figured out that manufacturing is a space that keeps on running even if it's a pandemic situation, right? 2019 onwards, we started moving into manufacturing. And that's where we realized that after working with companies like Piramal Glass, Marico, Borosil, Sham Steels, GMR, and JK Cement, lot of manufacturing companies, we realized that, okay, now why only manufacturing? Why not, commercial real estate and retail? Why don't we try in that directions? And that's where, the very first hand that, Chirag supported us in that direction. And with God's grace, within couple of years, we have been able to scale across Embassy Group, across different properties, and lot of insights might have come in between that Chirag might share in a better way. So Chirag, my first question to you, how do you foresee the artificial intelligence and video analytics helping the organizations like yours in multiple business process automation? And one more added point, what kind of impact you have analyzed with respect to revenue or maybe an operational automations? If you can just share with the audience in that direction, that will be a big help.
Okay, let me try and paraphrase as much as I can. So, leaving aside the video analytics part to start with, I personally believe, and I firmly believe, that we actually stand on the brink of a tech revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live and relate to one another. And why do I say so? Internet did it with us when internet was there. Probably it came in 1997, 98 onwards. Look the way we used to live earlier and how we live now, right? That's the kind of impact which I believe is AI going to bring in. I mean, in its scale, scope, and complexity, this transformation will be unlike anything human mankind has ever experienced before. And why do I say that? Because it's a good example is internet. I mean, how it has changed, how mobile has changed the world for each one of us, right? I can't live, a single day without having my mobile in my hand. And that's the kind of transformation which these technologies have done. And that's what I believe AI can do. And that's a precursor to it, right? So when I talked about AI at a very, very high level, video analytics is one of the most important cognitive function, right? Um, I mean, when we say AI, it's all about intelligence, which we normally associate with human mankind, right? Vision is one of the most important thing. Hearing is there, and Atul probably covered both audio and the vision part of it, probably touching the two important, verticals from human cognizance perspective. So, vision analytics is something, every single business process can be actually looked at from a transformation perspective. Every single. I actually come from retail background as well, having worked with Aditya Birla Retail and Virtuous Retail for more than 8-9 years. I have seen this transformation actually happening in front of my eyes. And, I remember in 2015, way back, we did this, vision analytics for our shopping center, which was one of the first in the country to do at that point in time. And what we were trying to do, we were just doing the aggregate level analysis, which we used to do by using a ticker. As an example, we wanted to know what is the average demographics of the, of the visitors who are visiting the mall, right? Peripheral security, overspeeding, ANPR, the list goes on and on and on. And we and the entire management was amazed, because they were all, our management was very committed on the data and analytics part, and they were very, very pleased to see that these data elements can be extracted without human intervention, and it can do more, much more than that, right? So that's this is one example. And then we also talked about smart shelves, which obviously, Mohit can talk much more. I'm not from pure retail perspective, but we looked into those aspects as well, where wherever there is a vision involved, wherever there is a human vision involved, it's high time that we actually replace this with automation. And it's not about job losses. Come on, let's not even talk about it. It is all about transformation. It is all about efficiency, right? These are the areas where it can be completely reinvented, right? You don't have to look from your perspective, as in that you're actually to in any transformation. What do you look at? You look at either you look at the cost part of it, you look at the efficiency part of it, or you look at the transformation part of it. And thankfully, all of these things are possible with the help of artificial intelligence, and more so with audio and video analytics. We did, in Embassy Group, we started this in 2019, and in this particular example, we actually were, and how I sold this to my management was because of cost. Uh, you know, history. As I was saying that we have infrastructure size business parks in our entire country, right? A park size is as high as 15 million square feet. Cameras ranging from 2,000 to 1,000 cameras per business park, and we have got 13, 15 business parks. Imagine if there are security personnel sitting in front of cameras looking at those small feeds 24/7 across the 1,000 cameras per business park. What is the cost impact? What is the quality we are talking about? Has anyone ever found an issue and actually reacted and made sense out of it? Probably no, right? That's the element of efficiency which this tech brings in. And as Mohit was saying, that we're not a tech company, and we believe that we leverage partners like Staqu to, or probably OEMs like Intel, to help us achieve what we want to do in terms of adapting the business cases. So the cost is an element, efficiency is an element, and there are many things which we can do much more. What we have done is only just the siloed solution. But imagine if I can integrate with my integrated facility management system. Imagine if there is a fire alert and it actually alerts and announces automatically even before the sensor does. I think that's the wow factor which can eventually happen with this tech. And it's all possible as long as we have a cohesive vision to do what we want to do. Back to you, Neeraj.
Absolutely aligned with you, Chirag, on the same. Uh, you know, Mohit, I think I can sense, you're just feeling to say something. So I have a question for you right now, right? Uh, I can certainly understand, retail has been moving into the phygital world altogether, right? Because technology is a big enabler in that direction, right? Because there are a lot of offline players who are just sitting idle. But we have been discussing since last few months, right? Now, just wanted to have your understanding. What's your take on this kind of an AI technology play with respect to enhancing the customer experience at Chaayos stores or in a similar direction?
So, Neeraj, I'll just start with from the customer side. As a customer, the expectations of the customer from brands have changed. What used to be a wow factor before is now a hygiene that is required by the brands to have. For instance, people ordering from an app while sitting at the cafe used to be a wow factor, let's say 4 years down the line, but today they expect it to be there. They do not want to stand in the queues to order it. They want to sit on the table and do it. Now, that's a revolution. So customer, if you look from the customer's point of view, the customer only asks for two things. Give me the product that you serve, give me the services that you serve. That's it. Now, as simple as the ask is, the backend is as complex as it can be. And when it comes to scale, it becomes even more complex. We were at 4 outlets, 6 outlets 6 years down the line, 6 years back, and today we are at 160 outlets. But to maintain the consistency of the product, of the services at this scale, and opening a store every second day or third day and then still continuing to give those services and product at that level is not a manual process. It cannot be done without technology. And that's where at each step we have intervened and modified the way technology influences us. We invested heavily in IoT. We built ourselves the first in the world automated tea brewing machines. We then so now the entire Chaayos cafes are equipped with these chai monks that we have, which again now building machine is one part of it, then maintaining the consistency out of that machine, because it's a very I would say transient action. You order it and you get it within a minute or so. So you have to be correct. Now technologies like AI, AI/ML helps us in actually identifying whether we have made the right chai through the machine or not as well, because we need to at the end of the day serve the customer with the right product. That's what his ask is. Go back to to further back to the supply chain part of it. Now, if we are not stocked in well, and being on a fresh model, if we are not stocked in well, we will not be able to serve our customers with the right products, because they will always be stocked out. Now, to be stocked in well, we have to automate the entire supply chain piece, introduce AI/ML to do predictive analysis, to ensure whether we have the right materials and everything in place, to ensure the availability of things. Then the second part comes the services part, and that's where solutions like Staqu come in, wherein customer expects hygiene, customer expects the product to be made in the right way, customer expects us that we follow our SOPs. That's a business what expects, because internally it will directly feed to the customer the right product. Now to measure those SOPs in a single outlet, probably the owner of the outlet can sit there and take care of it. But if you have to manage 160 outlets today and probably 1,000 outlets in a few years, it's not practically possible to micromanage it. My boy at the cafe is responsible for customers' delight. The other mundane work can be done by technology, because, and as Chirag mentioned, jobs are not going away. It's just that people are put on the right job by bringing in the right set of technologies. So if I can remove the order taking part, if I can remove the child making part and put it to technology, and then let those boys take care of the customer, talk to the customer, understand what their needs are, that's a more customer delight that I can give, because at the end of the day I'm giving product and consistency through technology, and then I'm giving customer delight via human interfacing. So scaling it up, training those 1,000 people, and retail is a space where there's a lot of attrition and everything. So training them on different products, different services, different SOPs is not a child's play, and that's where technology intervenes. Onboarding the new employees, making sure that they give a consistent behavior. So it at each step at Chaayos, you would see a technology intervention, and most of it has been built by us. But as we are not the experts of, let's say, video. That's where Staqu comes in. We are not the experts of let's say vision, the facial recognition. That's where we have we also have partnered with AWS to get that thing done. But more or less, we are application developers, and we are companies that believe in building applications, and the core tech product is something that we expect partners like you to help us out with. And that's how we have built this whole ecosystem for the retail business to run.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mohit. I think that was a wonderful insight for the audience. I think meantime, Atul, Yudhvir, if you can also join in, that will be a good thing for all of us, because people have been waiting for all of us right here. So it's not justified if you guys are staying away. Please come forward. Thanks. Thanks. So one quick question before I move to the Q&A session, and I'll pick up certain questions from the chat window. Right. So audience, just for your reference, if you want to pick or ask any questions with any of our speakers and panelists today, just put down your queries in the chat window. May it be from the deployment perspective, may it be from a camera integration perspective, use cases perspective, or value propositions, you can just drop it in a chat window, and our team will help, and the panelists will answer your questions. So Chirag, coming back to you and Mohit, one interesting thing I'd like to understand, before we move to Q&A, is where do you see your respective industries in next to 5 to 10 years with the help of AI and tech? What's your vision in that direction? If you can just share with the team out here, that will be a mind-opening thing for all of
So,
us.
so I'll start with giving an analogy.
Yep.
Whatever was sci-fi 30 years back or 25 years back, Star Trek movies and all, you are seeing that becoming a reality today. You are seeing people moving to different planets. You're seeing outer space being explored. You're seeing things like AR, VR coming into picture. Internet and all. So what is sci-fi today is going to be a reality. How would my cafe of future look like is something that I have to plan for today, because that is going to be a reality. The world is moving towards that. And we as companies, as brands, have to be cognizant of the fact that what works today is definitely not going to work for 3 years down the line. So with that in mind, we get a lot of inspiration from what has been built, what has been thought in the past but never built. And how can we pick up those attributes and build it for the future, and how can we basically keep customer at the center of it and think around it to build the future
Right.
technology. So AR VR is one such area. Great development happening in that space. You would soon see companies left, right, and center investing heavily into AR VR tech. uh, uh, for the cafes and all, the retail tech part of it, as in building the infrastructure. That's one of the biggest problems. And Chirag would associate to it. Building a a, a, a building is a months or a year's process. And if I have to open a store, let's say in Uttarakhand, somewhere in Uttarakhand, I need the infrastructure to be there. I need everything to be there, and I need it to be built at a faster rate. What that means is that there's a lot of technology that would be built around that space, which is the real estate side. And there are a few more areas where I think revolution would happen.
And what's your thought, Chirag? Very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years down the line, things would be, things would be something which we probably, are used to or associate with, manpower. As things stand now, painting work, glass cleaning, all these things are, very manpower intensive. All of these things are, are completely going to go away, once and for all, because eventually we would need to take a leapfrog in terms of its efficiency and quality, and it has to be predictive in nature. Digital twins are going to be big. I mean, gone are the days where infrastructure or real estate industries were used to be looked at bricks and cement and steel. No, it's no longer. There is a tech underlying which is as of now sitting in silos. It has to come out and it has to be exposed to the tenants eventually to make sense out of it. A good example, very briefly, without taking much time, historically people have been doing preventive maintenance. Then things have been changing in terms of predictive maintenance. Then there's a prescriptive maintenance. Then there's a digital twin to it. But I give an example that even before an HVAC or a genset is going to break down, it starts vibrating or generates heat, right? And even before it generates heat or vibrates, it actually starts drawing extra current. That this piece of information, if it is corroborated with the local data, which is like OEM provided data, or as well as, let's say, the temperature or location, the demographics. Imagine all these things can help you to predict your future. So prediction is no longer a magic. It's actually all about artificial intelligence. So it's all possible. It's all happening. It's all about making it mainstream. That's how it is. Nothing else is needed. Everything is there in the market. It has to be made mainstream. That's it.
More of the
I like
same.
it.
That's what
And
hashtag more of the same is what the keyword is.
Yeah.
well,
Things
I
are
can certainly
happening. We have to just
understand.
need more and more use cases, more and more people adopting to it. More of the same.
I can just understand one thing very quickly. Specifically for Chirag, right? I can sense it. Uh, Real estate as an industry is very capex intensive, highly capex intensive, right? You wait for years and years to see something, and that's where uh, proud to say that players like us comes into picture. You can help you in bringing down the entire thing at one single point. Okay, I'm just done with my self obsession. Coming back to the main point, over to you, Atul. There are certain questions, and Yudhvir, you too, right? few of the Q&As I'm just picking up from the chat window. Mr. Shashwat is asking, right? Is there any use case or problems that you guys are solving for the power sector, specifically for the power distribution companies? So Atul, if you can just share some insights that what we are doing with Adani Power, may be a big help for these
So
like
yeah,
audience.
so the power is one of the company which is of course power industry is mostly driven by either the hydro one or the coal industry, right? And coal is having a problem of fire and all, right? And if you go to those what do you say factory or those development area, right? So these coals are kept in a very bigger area, and of course this fire happens in a very smaller site, and if it is happening, it destroy the whole coal, right? And so it is very important to monitor those things. So previously they were doing all these monitoring manually. So just think of a area in 9 kilometer being monitored for a small fire with a camera. So how many cameras are there, and of course how many people are monitoring that. So that is one of the huge case we are solving for them, where camera is identifying all those things in the real time and alerting them. So this is one of the use case we are doing for fire, and of course different other security and safety related important things being monitored with that, of course, because this industry is also having a lot of accident prone areas, so that need to be monitored. You can just do the SOS detection, means if someone need help, wave his hand, alert will go to the command center. So those kind of things we're doing with them.
Amazing. One follow-up question on top of it, since I'll just like to share this insight. So Atul has done his master's in AI from University of Manchester, right? So he is a typical researcher from the mind, but a businessman by profession. You can say that. So if I have to say that, Atul, one quick question Justin is asking: uh, how do you train your AI models, and what would you say its accuracy percentage, and how many objects and classes it can detect? So on
Good.
top of it, once you answer it, Atul, one follow-up question for Yudhvir bhai. Yudhvir bhai, if you can just help them understand, how Intel is also putting their efforts in that direction and bringing down the TCO altogether to the end customer, that will also be a big help.
Okay, so I'll just take 15 seconds and that's all. So in object detection, we have a fundamental trained algorithm which detect different kind of object. We basically, first of all, we collect the data when, let's say we are live with, let's say this Adani Power, and let's say the coal is one of the object they want to identify in the fire, because you have a wide field of view, right? So we will pick 500, 800 images from the images which we are getting, tag it, and that's all. So this is how much data you need. Of course, and an algorithm is having this accuracy, not the object. So based on that, we are having beyond 99% accuracy in most of the object detection classes, whether it's a pallet class, whether it's a vehicle class, with a coal class. So you can just train with the data, like you just need 500 data or 1000 data. That's all. The fundamental algorithm, we call it in technical terms, fine tuning the algorithm. That's all. Fundamentally, it is being trained on 1000+ objects, which you can basically, of course, where the network understand the discrimination between different objects. So yeah, this is all we need.
Yudhvir bhai?
Yeah, so just to add on to that, so like I've already pasted the link. So at Intel we have a something called Intel Open Model Zoo, which is already a pre-trained public model which has been built upon and trained in collaboration with the open source fraternity. So that way, so maybe the industries can leverage that for specific use cases. Let it be a retail, let it be a gesture recognition. So whatever the need is, it's already the models are available which can be quickly maybe leveraged and quickly build up the applications to that.
Thanks, Yudhvir bhai. So, Atul, couple of more questions with respect to the considering the timelines, right? Audience, feel free to drop your questions right here if you have any. I'll try to pick up one more before we end up. I'll hardly take 5 more minutes now, and we'll wrap it up after this. Very quickly, if I have to ask another question, so Mohit, one question for you. Mr. Meenanath is asking, how big is your in-house tech team, and are you not facing any challenge of attrition in your tech team? How do you manage the knowledge transfer? I think that's a generic question. Every left, right, and center is facing the similar issue, right? So
So
yeah,
my
please share.
my 1 year agenda is to make my technology people independent, and that's what we are working on. We invest heavily in interns and freshers. We have started to invest, and it's more like if you have the as an attrition is going to stay here forever now, and especially in technology, and it is going to go big. So the only way of doing it is make it as modular as possible, have less dependency on people, move people around different projects, create that ecosystem where people learn everything. There's no concept of backend developer, front-end developer, DevOps engineer, Android developer, React Native developer. All are full stack developers. All know everything. That's the way you go about doing it. So add as many people, your people will align with you. Some will just churn out. More and more people get added, and that's how the company is being built, because there's no other way other than just making sure that you build your ecosystem without people.
I'll just
People
add on one
independent.
thing. I think until and unless you have money like Bharat Pay, who's offering a BMW to every technology guy, right?
Does
You
not work,
cannot.
man. Does not work. I have 2 resumes with
That also
me
didn't work.
who have taken a BMW and returned it back and come to work with us. So
Chirag,
does
what's
not
your say?
work, man.
I think you are, you might be facing the similar issues. How do you, safeguard your people?
Think I'm with
You're a,
Mohit. We cannot safeguard people. It's not how it works. So essentially, years of planning in a multi-level ecosystem is what it helps helps to ride in these circumstances. So we, for every business, for every product, we have a multi-layer solution. So L1, L2, L3. Whatever happens, L1 can fall back on L2, L3 can fall back on L2. So all these things have to work and dovetail together. And it doesn't happen overnight. It has to be a thought through exercise in terms of how you de-risk your entire portfolio. And every business leader, I'm pretty sure every one of us are going through the same crisis. The show has to go on, and the only way it can go on is that you plan for all these contingencies by multi-level support solution.
Thanks. Really, really insightful. I think one question I'm just seeing right here, Kapil is asking, what approach do you use to integrate your analog cameras? So I'll just answer this question very quickly, Kapil. So basically, it doesn't even matter which make and model of camera you have, whether it's an analog or an IP. We directly connect with your NVR and DVRs via RTSP protocol, that is known as real-time streaming protocol. And only two things are required from the site. One is your internet connectivity over a static IP, and second is your CCTV camera access, nothing else, and you're good to go. The next question I'll take is from Sheikh. Mr. Sheikh is asking, hi, which edge device you all can require to deploy the solution? Yudhvir bhai, very quickly.
Yeah, so thanks, Neeraj. So probably it purely depends on that what is the compute requirement or what is the use case, and that purely depends on that. We can scale it from the tiniest of Intel processors called Atom. So and go further on to the highly maybe capable like the Xeons, so which can be hosted on-prem as well as in cloud. So that way it purely depends on that. But the best thing is that with the OpenVINO thing, it completely gives you leverage to deploy your maybe code base on any of the Intel CPUs, VPUs, FPGAs, and all the processes which are available. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much. I can see a couple of questions. One from Sanjeev. Okay, both of them are from Sanjeev. Is any solution for agri solutions? And he is running a sugar manufacturing. So Sanjeev, wherever you have cameras, irrespective of the industries, right? You can directly contact us. We have a solution for you. May it be your security, safety, operations, hygiene, any vertical. You can just pick and choose like an a la carte, right? And you are ready to go. So that's it. Uh, any other questions? Any
One point that I would like to add, and it's not bragging about Staqu, but I am super happy. The 85 services that you have built, all industries would need one of those 85 or few of those 85 services. You have covered most of them. That's because
Right.
whenever I used to talk to them about a certain problem, and they used to tell me this is the service that you should explore, and that has been the way for me, and I'm quite sure it would work out for almost 80 to 90% of the industry at least.
Thank you so much, Mohit. So any final words between our relationships? Chirag sir, first you, then Yudhvir bhai, and then Mohit. Finally, Mohit, I think you already said, but if you want to add on, that's fine. So firstly, Chirag sir, from your side, anything?
The message is loud and clear. Organizations like Staqu and others have democratized this complicated or complex technology. Just tap onto these services as a SaaS product and then leverage and transform your businesses.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Yudhvir bhai, what's your take?
Yeah, so thanks everyone. First of all, thank you very much for the elite panelists to join you on this forum. And so I just wanted to say that at Intel, we believe in that bringing the best of the technologies to the society which can solve the problems. And that is where we are collaborating with the partners like Staqu, in which let it be any use case for safety and security, for industrial productivity and efficiency, and for the retail digital transformation altogether. We are there to collaborate with them and build up the technologies to make the lives of every citizens better on the ground. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Atul, any final thoughts for gentlemen out here? How's your experience with working with
First
these
of
leaders, industry leaders out
I
here?
say thank you, Chirag and Mohit, to joining this. Of course, I mean, they are the leader of their own domain. So, first of all, I'm really, I mean, very, very thankful. Yudhvir, of course, Intel is on the brand and you are leading that IoT thing and you are coming on this platform, giving the insights. It's really, really, I mean, great to have you here. So, and of course, all the audience members who are there and of course listening us, thank you very much for joining this platform. So that is the first thing, of course, and I mean we already have covered many queries, questions, and sites. So I'm assuming let's like we will collaborate with other people who are there in the audience side to bring something more powerful in terms of Jarvis and our video analytics. So this is my final thought, and yeah, I mean this is all I
One
wanted to
last
say.
promotion from my side, in case if anybody is interested in joining Chaayos to build
Do
the
it.
next year,
Not minded, Mohit, yeah.
next generation retail tech. I'm happy to get connected. We are hiring on all levels, and be it technology, be it non-technology domain. I'm happy to connect with you
Attrition यहाँ भी है, so guys, you can just look into it.
guys.
No, the
So,
जो मोहित ने बोला ना modular रखना is very powerful thing. If you keep things modular, it will be very helpful. I think, yeah.
so I have one final word from my side without wasting a much. Firstly, for all the audience, people who joined and spared out around 15 minutes, 15 minutes with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. And our elite panelists, Mohit, look forward to working with you. It's a great interaction in the past couple of months. Looking forward to work with you in a longer run. And Chirag sir, on a personal note, please pick up my phone whenever you're free. But at the same time, really blessed with your kind of support that you extended to Staqu and for your belief, that we were able to, leverage in the last couple of years. Looking forward to a long-term relationship ahead. Thank you so much. And with that, well been said, let's wrap it off. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, all the moderators, Staqu team. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for.
Thank you, everyone.